Okay, recording this video after close of trade Wednesday 30th of March 2011, and still not back to trading yet, still kind of jet lagged, wasn't up for the open, but saw some of the afternoon's activity. And this is where I suppose I start to diverge from the good news that you read out there. I start to see kind of topping activity in the market. Anyway, let me show you the charts, daily chart of the E-mini here. Only 1.1 million contracts traded, closed up at 23.75. Extremely quiet day in the market, really kind of high to low, only about 8 points, and I thought we were going to get a little bit of contraction in range today because of the trending days that we'd had over the last couple of days, so that's not kind of unexpected. And I know everybody's kind of saying, well, we're so close to the highs and we've had such a huge bounce from this lows, we're going to continue and so on, but let me just show you first of all one other chart which is showing a potential turning point. We've got a turning point, really kind of lining up on the E-mini because of this cyclical turn here. Not unusual just to kind of poke a little bit above it and then kind of maybe turn down. So I'm keeping my kind of options open. But let me show you the 30-year bond contract here. Going back a couple of months here, we had a bottoming activity here in US bonds, and this is where rates started to spike and the bond market started to fall. But back in December we had an end of trend warning signal after exhaustion selling, flush signals here, and we started to form a bottom. And you can see all of these blue professional bars kind of coming down into the lows. And then we broke below this cyclical support with an extreme kind of exhaustion selling bar here, professional bar, and we then kind of broken above that. And this little sequence here, three kind of professional bars in a row, was kind of getting this move going. And we now kind of came up a little bit to this profit-taking patterns here, and we've kind of sunk back down. Now what I see going on in this chart is, first of all, we've got a cyclical turn coming up on the 30-year bond contract. We've got less selling going on at this point here than we had exhaustion selling down at these lows. And if you look at this coming into this turning point or potential turning point, these three bars, amateur down bars here going on, which for me suggests this is kind of testing back down into these lows. We could easily see a turning point form here and bond market starting to rally. Now what would cause a rally in the bond market would be obviously kind of interest rates coming down, but it could be a little bit of a rush to the safety of bonds. So if the equity market starts to kind of drop off, we could have a turning point in bonds, and everybody kind of rushes into bonds, drives down interest rates, and it's a play for safety. So just be aware of that. We've got this kind of turning point likely to form over the next day or two. So I see that as well as kind of topping out activity on the equities on the E-mini kind of coming together. So let me just show you the longer term charts on the E-mini. Now 40,500 tip bar chart. Today we formed our end of trend warning signal here. We've had our exhaustion buying at this point yesterday leading into this turning point, and so we've formed a cyclical turning point up here. Now pretty strong activity kind of coming into this turning point. I suppose I'd like to see more kind of divergence patterns kind of lining up, and some of these better momentum readings being closer to the zero line before this starts to roll over. But that being said, we do have end of trend warning signal kind of printed now on the 40,500 tip bar chart. Going one time frame down to the 13,500 tip bar chart. A couple of days ago we had end of trend. This is second cyclical turn after end of trend. Now we've kind of rested above this cyclical turning point, and potentially we could break into an uptrend on this particular time frame. But coming into this high, we had kind of bearish divergence at this point, blue professional bars up here. Towards the end of the day, professionals kind of coming in, but that could easily be just kind of profit taking at the end of the day and just squaring out positions. So that jury's out on the 13,500 tip bar chart. On the 4,500 tip bar chart, which is my kind of trend time frame for day trading, this is where we had this sequence of pullback and an end of trend, and I was talking about this yesterday. After yesterday's strong trending day, said we were going to likely to see a pullback in an uptrend and then an end of trend sequence here, and that was the play for today. And we actually got a little bit of a burst of activity in the overnight session, kind of drove us up a few points, but then the market kind of rested, came back into this pullback in an uptrend, was this support level, the low for today, and then came into the highs with an end of trend warning signal. And for me, what was interesting was coming into these highs, all these blue professional bars kind of taking profits up here above 25, 26. We had a flush signal at this point, which feels nice, which is kind of the right sequence for this. We have the exhaustion buying during the trend move. The pullback is kind of shallow in terms of selling activity, bullish divergence at this point here, and then coming into the end of trend sequence, we've got a flush signal here. So we've got the same thing going on in terms of price as well as volume, buying and selling volume kind of going on here, and they're kind of not correlated indicators. So I think that 26 type level up at the highs here is really important. We sold off pretty hard. The selling activity at the end of the day was really pretty extreme here, with an exhaustion selling signal at this point, which was equivalent to the strength of the trend move kind of coming into this turning point. So there was a little bit of a rush for the exits right there. Could we see a little bit of a bounce tomorrow from that? Yes. I use the 4,500 tip bar chart as my trend determination. So what actually happens now is we've had the trend sequence on this time frame. So what I expect tomorrow is a bit of cyclical activity, and to be playing the cyclical highs and lows on the 4,500 tip bar chart before we break into another trend move. Having looked, when we look at the highest time frames, we're kind of, I'm seeing this trend move kind of being over from these lows, kind of down here that we made with all the bad news of Fukushima. So, I think we're going to get a rolling over, cyclical highs and lows kind of tomorrow, and then rolling over for Friday potentially. So that's what I looking at my charts at the moment. No, I'm out of sync with what everybody else is saying. Everybody else is saying, we're kind of breaking to new highs after exhaustion selling, and it has to be said, this kind of extreme selling that we had down here, a couple of weeks ago has fueled this rally. But we're running out of steam at this point here. Is this move going to end with a kind of blow-off activity where we get an exhaustion of buying, or do we just kind of turn over? We kind of wimp out with very little demand going on at these highs, and we just kind of roll over because there's a lack of buyers at this point. So that's what I'm going to be looking for tomorrow. So I'll be playing the cyclical turns on the 4,500 tip bar chart, and then looking for a break of the lows of some of those into a trend moving down, and just keeping my eye on this daily chart of the bond contract. If we get a kind of a rush back into the safety play, we'll get a kind of rally in the bond market with a drop in the equity market. Anyway, so I hope your trading went well today.